Now, what was your reaction when they selected Jarett last night with the second round, especially after using a second round pick last year on Nate Allen? Kurt Coleman did a very good job. What was your take when all of a sudden you found out Temple kid, another safety, second round?
Well, I was surprised. I've heard about Jaquan, about him being a hitter. So I kind of known that he's a guy that's going to come in and lay some licks. But I was surprised that they grabbed him then. I was thinking maybe them going somewhere else than the safety spot. But in thinking about it, I think that the Eagles grabbed him because safety-wise, there weren't a lot of safeties in this draft. And they probably felt somebody else was going to move up and take him. And they wanted to get him, which says something about how they felt about him. And in listening to him talk, you can see that he's going to be pushing these guys, which is going to be interesting in what happens and who winds up being the starter back there.
Gee, it was very intriguing to hear Jaquan talk about the whole world of the 40 time, because that, even though people say it dropped his stock, it really didn't, since he went in the middle of the second round. Not a bad draft choice there whatsoever, but the fact that so much emphasis is put on that, how difficult is it to separate that? Look, you can be a great workout warrior, but when you get in between the lines and put the pads on, it's a whole new world.
Well, the big thing with him, and that he talked about being able to recognize things. See, because football is not just a track meet. A track meet, you just run in a straight line. But see, football is something where you've got to recognize. I would compare it to, let's say you're an airplane pilot, where you've got to figure out what's going on in the pocket. It's almost like, being a superhero, where you see some of the guys like a James Bond movie, where you got to figure out this information. And then you've got to make sure that you beat up 3 guys and then do that. See, there's a physical element of it. But really, that mental aspect is so important, meaning you might be able to run a 4.3 or 4.5 or 4.4, but can you recognize where they're going with the ball quick enough and then get out and go make the play? See, that's what football involves, and that's why you can't really translate, how good a player a guy's going to be simply by a 40 time. And from what they said about him is that he recognizes things very well, he plays very fast, and that's a big part of things. That's a big factor that I think is probably in his favor.